All right. Well, we are live. Welcome, everyone, and hello to my great co-host, Miss Heather S. How are you doing today?
Woohoo! Good. How are you doing today?
I'm always doing great. It's a great and wonderful day. I'm excited to get back to cut the card. So let me get the show started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cut the Cord Lunch and Learn series. Every Wednesday at 12 p.m., a new Cut the Cord Lunch and Learn series will release. Now, today is a special day in Cut the Cord because we have a new co-host with us. So I want you guys to welcome Miss Heather Scanning, who will be known as Heather S. So make sure you guys say hello to Heather S in the comments, please. So you may ask, what is Cut the Cord? See, it's a 30-minute training that airs live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. It's going to get you, it's going to help you elevate your mindset. It's going to help you set new goals. It's going to help get you outside of your comfort zone. Now, it's going to also get you saying things like, I'm already good enough. I earned it. I'm smart enough to do it. I am because I am. It's going to give you that it factor. So you got to visualize it, pray about it, plan it, work it, live it, and don't give up on it. Whoo, man, it's going to help you cut the cord to go to a higher level. So I hope you enjoy this teaching today, and let's just get running, Heather. So,
Yep.
We're getting into 2022, and I love the optimism that people have about their goals. There's still plenty of talk I hear about making these resolutions stick. Right now, I'm not a resolutions guy. I normally like to set goals, but some people like to set resolutions, and it's okay. All right. So I see social media posts abound about people hitting the gym and making changes in their daily routine in order to make this year, 2022, different from last year. And I know that some people have already probably stopped what they're doing, given up on their goals. They've already said, I'm going to throw the towel in. What's the use? But let me tell you what, 2022 is the year of no excuses. Now, I love this time of the year, Heather, because people are so intentional about goals. And one of the greatest shifts any leader can make is by moving from goals to growth. Now, today, Heather, we're going to be talking and teaching them about why, if you want to grow, you need to cultivate a teachable spirit.
Yes. Cedrick, I love this too. Going from goals to growth. I want to capitalize on this new year, new you momentum and share one of the secrets to a sustained personal development, a teachable spirit. It may sound hokey, but the truth is that growth is only possible when we're willing to adapt a teachable spirit. That means having passion to learn, possessing an intention to learn daily, and reflecting on what we've learned so we know how to apply it. One of the most powerful things that I've learned is that reflection actually spurs on your growth even more. Picture your personal growth as a garden. All of a sudden, we're starting to see the warm vibrancy of spring. So this is the perfect time to really to put that image into play. Think of a garden. Nothing that grows in a garden springs to life on its own. Gardens require planning, cultivation, and the right environment, right? As a gardener, you must be willing to prepare the soil, to sow the seeds, to water, to feed, to mulch, and weed.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into this, right?
Right.
And we have to see that gardeners and that farmers are super intentional in what they do. And it happens not just once a month, not just once a week, but every single day.
Yeah.
Not most days, every single day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Man, you got me over here. I'm ready to set some new goals to go to a higher level. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. So, how can we cultivate a growth environment, our own development garden? Think about that. How
Mm.
can you cultivate your own development garden? You see, by adopting a teachable spirit is the first thing, right? When we're willing to seek out and learn lessons from others, from our experience, from reflection, then we're able to increase our capacity to grow. See, we're going to share with you 5 practices, only 5, and then we're going to be out of here to help you make you keep this teachable spirit. So let's just dive right in. Number 1, so you have to make growth the number 1 priority.
That's good.
Yeah. See, after 40 years, well, now 55 years for me, um, but 40 years in profession, I've come to understand that everything I do is predicated on my personal growth. Every opportunity I have is the result of my commitment to strengthening and growing myself every day. See, a day without growth is not good for me. It's not good for the people I lead. So I have to put growth at the top of my priority list daily. Not some days, not most days, not every other day, but every day. Number 2, so you have to look for growth possibilities in every situation. See, when you're intentional about growth, you come to realize that you're surrounded by growth opportunities every day. I like what George Bernard Shaw said, Heather. He says, the possibilities are numerous once we decide to act and not react.
Ooh,
See, that's going
shifting that,
first.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. See, for those who watch my 10-minute word on Sunday mornings, you, you remember I was teaching out of the book of Acts, which is a book of action, not reaction. You see, the leaders in Act all took action, immediate action, consistent action, intentional action. So the question is, are you taking that action every day in your life, in your business, in your personal life, in your social life, in your professional life? See, that's not so true for a lot of people, but it is true for people who want to be intentional. And when you get intentional about growth, you discover that good or bad, up or down, there are opportunities for you to grow in every situation. The key is looking for them. You have to be intentional, and when you're intentional, you can look for them. Now, I like what pro golfer Richard Lee said, Heather. He says, when he was early in his career and he had a bad shot, he used to get really down on himself and he would really get disappointed. And his negative emotions would start to feel in his mind and hurt his play for the rest of the tournament. Now, one day, his mother-in-law said to him, you will always have days when you make bad shots. Now think about that. For us, we'll always will have bad days. We'll always have a day where we have a bad shot. But every golfer, she said, every golfer does. And as you walk toward the ball, you have to make a decision. Will I dread seeing the lie of the ball and begin filling my mind with negative thoughts or my body with negative emotions? Or will I welcome the ball and be glad you are a golfer and realize that you have an opportunity to make a great recovery shot? You see, if you always welcome the ball, regardless of your lie, you will more often make a good recovery shot. Now, when people ask me, Heather, how am I doing? I always say, I'm always great. You see, it's just like the golfer, Richard Lee's mother-in-law was telling him, you have to put positive thoughts, positive energy in your mind, in your thoughts, in your words, in your actions in order to get positive opportunities and outcomes. And that's really what she's saying. See, Richard says now, whenever his ball lies, whenever he has a bad shot, and we all do, he walks up to it and welcomes the ball. It has made a great difference in his game. He says, what a great way to, I'm telling you, what a great way to think about dealing with adversity, right? Making a recovery shot and having a teachable spirit.
Oh, I love that. That's so powerful because it's all about shifting that mindset to what's possible in that situation, having that recovery. Now, number 3 is I ask questions that will help me grow. Growth, as much as we want this to happen to us, growth doesn't come looking for you. Just like Cedrick was talking about with how you have to act, right? Growth, it's not something that we passively sit by and it comes to us. You have to go and find it. So that means being willing to step outside of yourself by asking the questions of people and situations that surround you. Pretend you're sitting with someone across the table that you really admire, and you don't really have anything to say to them. You don't really have any questions to use to see where they've gotten to or how they've gotten to where they are. Think about the questions that you might want to ask, right? The fastest way to find out what we don't know is to ask those questions to those people. The best way to deepen our understanding is to ask questions. Questions are the keys that open the hearts and minds, especially our own.
Absolutely. So there's a question I'm going to put out there, and it's in the comments, and it's also on the screen. Do you have a teachable spirit? You see, it's a question you need to ask yourself. Every one of us needs to ask ourselves, do we have a teachable spirit? Now, we've shared with you 3 so far of how to have this teachable spirit. 1, I make growth my number 1 priority. Number 2, I look for growth possibilities in every situation. And number 3, I ask questions that will help me grow. Drum roll. Number 4 is I keep track of what I've learned. Ooh, man, I love that. Right? In the book Leadership, Heather, John Maxwell actually says, I file what I have learned. But not everyone is a fan of filing the way he does. See, but whether you file, journal, or record memos, the point is the same. If you don't create a system for capturing what you're learning, you'll lose it. Now, it's important that you understand this. I'm going to take a step back for a second here. If you don't create a system, if you don't have a system, if you don't use a system on a consistent basis to capture what you're learning, you'll lose it. See, my filing system allows me to access what I've learned repeatedly so I can layer my learning and expand my growth. Now, I don't do mine manually like John does, but I do mine electronically so I can get to it on a regular basis, on a routine basis. It's important that you understand that it's important that you have a system and that you use a system. And thanks, Crystal, for tuning in. We're glad you're here with us today. See, people that know me know that I'm a big fan of systems and processes. In everything that I teach people, when I'm teaching entrepreneurs, I'm teaching people how to grow their business, how to expand their business, how to do things different in their business. If you're in my accountability program, you know the first thing I talk about is a filing system. I talk about having systems and processes in your business. You see, the greatest companies in the world, the big ones, the Facebooks, the Amazons, the Abbott Laboratories, the Johnson & Johnsons, the Googles, the Teslas, they all have systems in place. So that if Cedrick's not available today, you know what? Heather can step in and do the exact same thing. You don't have to recreate the wheel. Well, how did they do this yesterday? No, there's a system for it. You need to have a system like that in your personal life, in your professional life, in your social life. Even if you're dating, you got to have a system. So, I talked to John this day. I talked to, Michael this day. I talked to Susie this day. I talked to Mary this day. Know your people, right? So it works in every area of your life. So
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, say that again.
No, absolutely. Cedric, I just wanted to build on what you just said, because have you ever read a book and found a really awesome quote, underlined it, maybe highlighted it, something like that? And then you're
Yeah.
thinking, I remember a little bit of how that quote made me feel, but I don't remember exactly the words. And you go searching for it for so long, right? To try to find it. This
Yeah.
is so powerful. Filing is incredibly important.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to wrap up this right quick for you. Is it any person that has systems and processes in place will be, mark my words, you will be, not maybe, you will be more successful than a person who does not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 5. So this is the 5th one, the last one. So important. I share what I've learned with others. Having a teachable spirit means to also teach others, right? It's one thing to glean truth, and it's another thing to teach it. When you pass on what you have learned to someone else, you make that lesson your own. You take ownership of it. It also multiplies the impact of what you've learned, because it helps someone else. And then they can use your words to add value to others. It creates this ripple effect. If you're fresh into this year, and we're already into March, so thinking about those goals and that growth, like Cedric said, and you're finding that you have an appetite for more, then this post is what you need. You're ready to make the shift from goals to growth. You'll find a teachable spirit is a reliable way to make that transition, one that not only gets you started now, but helps you to last through the rest of this year.
Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you what, folks, there's nothing better than a person with a teachable spirit. Think about how many times you've been around people who have a teachable spirit. They have this eagerness to grow, to learn, to get better, to get faster. Teachability expands your talent. I'm going to say that again because I want to make sure that you get it. Teachability expands your talent. See, there are two kinds of people in this world: those who want to get things done and those who don't want to make mistakes.
That's good.
You see, if you have a teachable spirit, you're going to be one of those people that want to get things done and not worry about the mistakes and all those type of things that's going to happen along the way. That's the beauty of it. Now, consider this, and hey, I normally teach this on the 10-minute word on Sundays, but it's just in my spirit to tell you this today. Consider Simon Peter in Acts 10. Remember, I talked about Acts earlier. It's the book of action. See, Peter was a talented preacher. He was one who preached the first sermon. That's where the church was launched in Acts 2. Just go check it out. See, he spoke all over Jerusalem and clearly was the senior leader and a spokesman for the gospel in the first 8 chapters of the book of Acts. However, in Acts 10, see, God challenges Peter with a new insight. Now, that gospel was meant for the Gentiles also, right? But not just for the Jews. But it's important that you understand this, right? See, Peter had a difficult time embracing this idea that this message was for the Gentiles also, not just for the Jews. But thankfully, his teachable spirit opened a door for him to take the gospel and his talents to those outside the Jewish faith. And a whole new ministry was born because Simon Peter had a teachable spirit. Now, today we talked about how you grow by cultivating this teachable spirit. And I want to make sure that you get this, because this is where our point of this lesson today is teachable spirit, yes, but also to make sure that you demonstrate that every day, that you put this in your life every day. Now, I want the people who say that, oh, I'm a Christian. You go to church every Sunday, virtually or in person, right? But you don't have a teachable spirit. You walk out of the building and you've walked out the same way you walked in. There's nothing brand new about you. You didn't grow. You didn't change what you do. You still say, I'm going to be real. Well, when you do that, you're not having a teachable spirit. So I want to make sure that you leave here today with something that you can utilize.
Yeah.
But first, I want to say thank Heather S. for being our new co-host on Cut the Cord.
Absolutely. Cedrick, can I just add something to what you were just saying? This came to my heart while you were speaking about Peter. This idea in Matthew, when Jesus talks about how do you become, right? How do you become like a follower of Christ? And what does he say? He says, become like a child. Have that childlike spirit, essentially. The greatest in the kingdom. And think about, who do we typically teach? Children. Yeah. When you have that teachable spirit, you're continuing to learn. You're saying, I'm not done growing. Because when you are a child, the world is open to you. The possibilities are rich and endless. Yes. And it doesn't mean that just because you're older, that just because you've gone through things in your life, that just because there's a certain age to your life, that you're done learning, that you are not teachable anymore. It's so important that we grasp that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And every one of our lessons, folks, is not just going to get heavy on your heart, but we're going to touch you some kind of way. All right. All right. We're going to touch you virtually. All right. Just get comfortable. All right.
Don't get all weird, right?
Yeah. Don't get too excited. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in to the Cord today. Whether you're tuning in live like Crystal or you're watching the replay, thank you for taking the time out. We really, really appreciate you. And our goal is to help you and your team go to a higher level. You may know someone at your work that needs this lesson. Every Wednesday, we're going to be here at 12, and we're going to come in really quick and be out. 30 minutes, boom. We're going to be in and out. Sometimes maybe a little bit shorter, but we're going to have an impactful message for you and help you be able to use that in your daily life, right, with your team, so you can take them to a higher level. We want to hear from you, though. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us if we can serve you better. Tell us, is there some message that you want to hear? And we'll definitely work on putting that together for you. Tell us what your team's struggling with. Is it communication? Is it teamwork? Is it collaboration? Is it creativity? Is it being authentic? What is it? We want to help you and your team. So make sure you let us know what those things are. Hey, I love someone put the comment up there. When you leave church on Sunday, what you learn should show up in your life and on Monday through Saturdays.
Amen. Absolutely. And amen, right?
Absolutely, I agree with you. But we all know that it doesn't. There's too many people out there saying, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep it straight. I'm going to keep it 100, right? Yeah, but keeping it 100 sometimes means that we end up losing everything that we're supposedly learning. And we walk by faith, not by sight.
Right.
And we let people see in us. Right. So we don't have to tell them, I go to church every Sunday. They're supposed to see it. I bet that person goes to church. I bet that person is a believer. Right. And it doesn't mean you have to go to a building. Right. What are you going to say, Heather?
I bet they are. And, you know, when you leave a church on Sunday and then you get into your car and all of a sudden you're behind someone in the parking lot or on the freeway and you're like, what's going through your head, right? What's happening then? Or your child starts screaming in the back or something like that, testing your patience, right? Yes. And all of a sudden it's just growth goes with you. when you possess this teachable spirit, because you learn, you start to open up the different chasms, the different pathways in your mind, and you start to realize that you can learn, you can grow, no matter what age you are.
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to reach out to us directly, our email is in the chat as well. So just click on the email link in the chat and send us a message, and we'd love to engage with you. This has been an awesome experience today. I'm excited that we're running with Cut the Cord London Learn series again. So many people have been asking me, hey, where is it? And you know what? We just have to find another co-host. Now, I want to make sure that I also honor my previous co-host, Miss Joanna Rincon. Is awesome, but she went back to corporate and she is busy doing her thing, leading the Four Seasons organization with leadership development, teaching them, training them, all the stuff that we used to talk about. She's employing those things in her with her teams and with the team of folks that work at the Four Seasons. So we're excited in her venture, but we're even more excited that Heather S. Is coming in, and she's not going to be a replacement for Joanna. She is going to be Heather S. And she's going to bring her own flair and flavor and tone and all of that type stuff. So you guys get ready to pump up with some Heather S. Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, too. This is going to be a pleasure, not only for everybody else, but for me, too. When you give, you get back. That's one of the things that I continue to learn.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys again. We hope that you have a good rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. And as I always say, if I can do anything for you, feel free to reach out to us and let us know. We're definitely be excited and glad to help you in any kind of way that we can. Thank you guys and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.